Hello everyone, welcome to Info IoT, and today we are at the final video of our 4-part video series of the home automation using the Google Assistant. Now in the previous 3 parts we saw how we can set up the whole application on the actions on Google console. We then moved on to the Dialogflow console where we did the whole setup of our agent. Now we are at the final part where we are going to set up our hardware, which is constantly listening to the changes that are happening in the Firebase real-time database, and we are going to make the necessary actions of, maybe whether we have to switch on or off the light based on the changes that are occurring in the Firebase real-time database. So, as usual, we have a Medium article which is covering the whole setup on the hardware side, along with the code that needs to be flashed on the hardware, that is the ESP8266 or the Wemos or any similar hardware which runs ESP8266 chip. So let's go ahead and do the setup. So we have opened up a new sketch in the Arduino IDE, and let's just copy paste the code from our Medium article. So here there are two changes that we have to make. First is we have to add the Wi-Fi SSID and password, and second is the Firebase database URL and secret key. So let's just add the SSID and password first. Now to add the Firebase DB URL, you have to go to your project, click on database. Now this URL over here, this is your DB URL. So just copy paste that and the database secret key. Now the database secret key is under the project settings, service accounts, database secrets. Copy paste it over here. So the code is ready, and this can be directly now flashed onto your ESP8266 node MCU model, or maybe any other model that is running the ESP8266 chip. Now let me just give you a small brief about what's happening inside the code. So in setup, we are making use of two pins over here, D1 and D2. Now in my code, I was actually trying to control the light as well as fan. So maybe you can just skip this one and use any of the pins that you would like to. So we define them to be in the output mode first. Then we are trying to connect here to the Wi-Fi. After that, we connect to the Firebase database using the URL and the secret key. This code helps us to start the listener that is constantly listening to the changes that are happening in the Firebase real-time database. And this void loop is having the code that is constantly listening for the changes. Now this void loops tells us that it is going to continuously loop through the code, and this code is going to be continuously executed. Now this is where your changes that are happening in the real-time database are reflected, and based on the values that we get, we are either switching on the light or switching off the light. So that is the basic code that is required on the hardware side. Let's just see how we can set up the different components that are required for the demo. Before we move ahead, we have to make a small change over here. We don't require this https://. It should be just the URL of your project here without anything else. So now let's just flash this code on our Wemos. So let's select the board from here, Wemos T1 Mini, the port. So the code has been flashed on the Wemos T1 Mini and the hardware is now ready. Let's move ahead and do the necessary connections of the relay and the 3-pin socket for putting in our light. So this is our hardware setup where we have 3 major components, one being our 5-volt relay, the Node MCU ESP8266 module, and the 3-pin socket to attach a light bulb. So let's just go through the connections one by one quickly. A 5-volt relay has 5 connections. One is the normally closed, a common point, and a normally open. A common, one of the wires from 3-pin socket will go to the common and one of them will go to normally open. Now there's normally open stands for NO, there is C over here in between, and NC, that is for normally closed. On this side we have three pins. One which is 5-volt, one is ground, and one of them is the signal pin coming from the Node MCU module. Now we have attached the ground over here. As you can see, we have the V in pin coming to the 5-volt over here, and the signal pin is going to D2. So that is it. This is the basic connections that we require from the hardware side. Now let's just put everything together and try to test our whole demo. So we have the setup ready with the relay connected to our light and the Wemos. So before we move ahead with the setup, we have to come to the actions on Google Console and open up our application. At the end, we have a button called as test draft. Now when you click on the button, it is going to make your application live on all the devices which are affiliated with your email address and are running the Google Assistant. So we have a Google Home over here which we are going to use for testing our demo. So let's just give it a try once. I click on test draft. Now this is going to take us to the simulator that is provided by Google to help test our Google Assistant applications. We are going to make use of the Google Home, so we don't require it. So let's just give it a try. Okay Google, talk to Casa controller.
Alright, getting the test version of Casa controller.
Hey, this is Vishal's home automation control assistant. What do you want to control? Light or fan?
I want to switch on my light.
Okay, switching light on. Do you want to control anything else?
I want to switch off my light.
Okay, switching light off. Do you want to control anything else?
No, that's all.
I think I may have misunderstood your last statement.
So yeah, so we have the complete demo ready and flawlessly working. So you can go through all the 4 parts once again. Just check out, make modifications, customizations, add new features to it as you want. Hope you liked this 4-part video series. I'll be coming up with new such interesting topics with different fields and technologies. So see you later. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you.